So today we're going to be doing a program called Pet Advice where we basically recommend a pet for a user based on their lifestyle. So we will prompt the user to enter whether he or she lives in any of these following, and we will ask the user how many, like the average day they're at home. And they will have to select from this menu. And then based on that, we will tell them what pet is best recommended for them. So by just looking at this program, we know it's going to be a nested if else program, which isn't too bad. First thing we will start doing is do a little brainstorm of how we want to code this. So let's start brainstorming. So the first thing we have to do is ask. So that is our first method. So we're going to be asking, what do you live in, house, apartment, or dormitory? We're going to ask. So we're going to be asking, what is the number of hours you are at home? So we have the given categories here. So this is going to be our second method. Now we're going to have to display the results to see what pet we are going to be having. So what we can do is, we know something that we can see appear in common is that the hours will vary. So the hours, they will vary, but the homes, they will vary, but they're in a specific category. So do if home equals 1, and we can do if hours equals 1. The system.out.println, you get whatever. So, and then we're going to do else if, and then the else, and then, so it's going to be like a nested if else, if you're seeing where it's going. So there's going to be one main if, and then there's going to be an else if, and then there's going to be an else for the last option, which is dormitory. Now what we should do is set out the predictions, because the table right here and the table, the results table is different. So you pick a house. Let's do it based off of the categories. So category 1 goes with, if it was 18 or more, we would have hour equals 1, and if it was dog, would be hour equals 2. But if it was a snake, we would have hour equal 3, or hour equal 4, or hour equal 5. So with this, hour equal 1, hour equal 2, hour equal
equal 2, and with this one, how equal 3, 4, and 5. Now to the last one for dormitory. Okay, so it would be h equal 1, equal 2, h equal 3, h equal 4, and for this one would be h equal 5. So now we have brainstormed it out, and this has made it a lot more easier for us to know what to do in the program. So let's start coding.
So now, since we're done with our brainstorming, now we can actually write this program. So I've written like a brief overview of like the structure of how it's going to be formatted. So I have the program description, all the important like common stuff, and then I just started off the program like this. So the first thing that we needed in this program was we had to ask the user, like prompt them to enter where he or she lives. So to do that, we have to create some methods. And int home equals get home. We'll do int hours equals get hours. And we will do display advice. Now we're going to start with our first method, get home. So we always have to fill in these important stuff. Okay, so I have written our description for our method and preconditions and postconditions. So now let's get into coding this program. Public static int get home. Now this is where we ask the user where they live. So we have to do int home, and then the SOAP statement, system dot out dot println. We can say, what do you live in? Pick a number. And we are gonna be doing break lines. We have option 1, which is a house, and we are gonna break line option 2, which is an apartment, 3, which is a dormitory, break line, and there. Now we will do home equals in dot next int, and then we have to return home. Okay, so this was our first method complete. So this is complete. Now let's do our second method. Okay, so now let's start coding. Public static int get hours. Int hour system. Okay, so I've done the categories. Now I am gonna return the hours. Now it's time for the last method, which is to display the advice. And this is where all the nested if-else statements come into play. Public static void display results. And the reason, advice, the reason I am saying void in this case is because I'm not returning anything. So that's why I'm saying void. And I'm writing in hours and at home is because those are parameters that we will be needing for this part of our code. So let's start with these statements. If home equal 1, and then hours equal 1, hours equal 1, hours equal 1. So hours 1, it's recommended you get a possibility pick. And now else if hours equals 2, a dot. Hours equals 2, hours equals 3, or hours equal 4, or hours equal 5. So what I'm doing with the hours right here is basically I'm saying if it's this or this or this, just print this out. And let's say it's only hour 3, but it's none of these, it would still print out this. So an or is like if one thing's true or the other thing's false, it's gonna give true. But if both of them are false, then it's just gonna give false. But with and, it's different. So else if did the else if part of this, and something different you might see is the else. So, and I put a little comment right here, which is basically in this program what we're thinking, like we're not pretending. We know the user will not print out any like numbers like 6 or like any numbers that do not go with the specific category that is given. So that's why there's no error check in this. So that's why we did else. So we did else hours equal. So like the else is basically referring to if the hour equals 3, 4, or 5, it's going to print out it's recommended you need a hamster. This else statement. Now we have finally finished our program. So now let's give our program a quick run. Let's compile it first. I know what I did wrong. I forgot the plus sign. Wow, I should have really compiled the program. Okay, now let's run it. Okay, let's pick where we live in. Okay, so let's say we live in a house. Let's do 18 or more hours. That's the average. We are at home. And let's press enter and we should get a pot-bellied pig. And that's what we get. Now let's do apartment 2 and let's say 5. We should get a hamster for this one. We got a hamster. Now let's run and let's do the last one. And the average number of hours, let's do 3. We should get a fish. We get a fish. So hopefully you got a little understanding, like a hands-on experience of what like a nested if-else statement looks like with the methods. So hopefully this video helped.